Hey, good morning, Renita.
Good morning.
Good morning. So I think we're right 8 o'clock my time on the West Coast Pacific, and you're 11 o'clock on the East Coast. So why don't we give it just a minute before we kick things off? We have people coming in. Looks like we got a little bit of an audience coming in today. Appreciate everyone taking the time. Hopefully having a good summer. Staying cool if you can. And I guess what else? Avoiding flooding, tsunami warnings last night. So hopefully everyone's safe. Okay, 8:01. So we're 8:01. All right. All right. So maybe we kick things off, Renita. How are you doing?
Sorry, I was speaking on mute. Yeah, I'm good. Excited to start the webinar today. It's exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I think we have the audience. People may be rolling in as we go, but this is good. This gets recorded through the GoToWebinar. Little housekeeping, but I guess kicking it off. Good day, everyone, and welcome to this Fastman presentation. I'm Brian Lapointe here, as always, joined by Renita Day, a highly skilled senior ECM consultant from Fastman. And, both Renita and myself, we've been working in this open text ecosystem. Fastman also for many years. Fastman's been doing it for over 20 years. Myself and Renita, almost as long, quite frankly, too. And we're pleased to be showcasing this information governance focused webinar for users of the OpenText content management platform. And like to say that, with all the promises of Gen AI, IT still spends too much time in handling operational requests, like things like managing permissions, correcting metadata, and even cleaning up content issues that should be owned by the business. Okay, we'll cover some of these key challenges, the real business impacts, and how the Fastman management suite for extended ECM, delivers a smarter, more scalable approach to information governance in today's webinar. Let's see how we're doing here. Oh yeah, we still got a few people rolling in. This is excellent. I think, okay, well, I think at this point, Renita, I'm gonna roll the polls. So for the audience out there, we always like to do a few level setting poll questions. I appreciate your participation. Easy to just go through ABC options there, and then we'll read back the results. But it kind of helps us as we gauge how we're going to navigate ourselves through the webinar today. So I appreciate your participation. And I'll start off with the first one here, Renita. And I'll just set this up to, we're talking about information governance was really this foundational level. And then I'm relating it, you'll see me relating it to, because all we hear these days is about how you're using AI, generative AI in your organization. So I think they go hand in hand quite well. Even if you're not 100% using AI solutions today, I think we all know we're heading that way pretty soon, right? So let me see here with the polls. I'm gonna launch the first poll right now. And so I'm just asking general question about AI. How are you using it in your organization today? And and this is not related, by the way, to OpenText. This is related to general AI. Are you doing anything with it? Are you actually doing something with it? Are you, actively looking at it? Or we really haven't even begun our journey, right? So interested in seeing what that feedback may look like. So again, generic responses, not specific to content server. And what I'm seeing is actually, yeah, I think that's where we are. If I did this a year ago, we'd have completely different results. But 50% are saying that they have a few AI pilots deployed, meaning used. 30%, 38%, I think it's 38%. You're in that evaluation side of it, and 13, maybe a little less, haven't even begun is what the poll results is showing. So yes, thank you for sharing that. I think that that makes a lot of sense. Makes sense. I got another question. Let me throw it out there. Where are you? Let me get this out there. Where are you in the cloud or migrating to the cloud? And this is, again, a generic question in your organization, not so much about open text, but about where you are in your cloud journey, your cloud systems. I would say, like at Fastman, we're almost 100% there in the cloud. I can't really think of too many tools that we have that are not cloud-based or provided to us through our cloud providers and stuff like that. So that's kind of how we think about things right now. So interesting. Opposite from the group here. So what they say, well, not opposite, but I would say 0% there, 100% in the cloud. If I was able to vote, I would have a vote in there. I'd probably say 100%. But 56% coming in, most systems are in the cloud. And then, well, now it's 50-50. We're seeing 50 most systems in the cloud, and then 50% were not in the cloud. You know, especially with an open text audience, highly regulated, government, public sector, or energy utility, highly regulated, banking. These are the customers I see in the open text ecosystem that we primarily work with. So they still keep a tight handle on things, especially around information governance and records and so forth, where I could see the 50-50 split, or in other systems, more stuff in control on-prem and not in a general public cloud of some kind. So great. Thank you for that feedback. Let me close that poll. I think I got one more. So this one is related to OpenText, and within your content management extended ECM content server system, as they call it, are you using business workspaces? Where are you with that? This is, a lot of people traditionally started off with file folder structures, have the intent to move to them, planning to transition to them. If you were setting up a new system today, you may just set it up with business workspaces and take advantage of that. And then, so what I'm seeing right here is 25%, 20%, well, even 20% are currently using business workspaces. 0% are planning the transition, and then 83% have no plans with this group here today. So that's interesting. So, so we'll talk about a little bit about the benefits around that today too. So yeah, that's the feedback that I'm seeing. So I'm seeing a 75-25 split. So thank you for that. Good. We'll close the polls. Are we back to my PowerPoint screen, Renita? Yeah. Okay, so we'll just get rolling without further ado, let's get started. So what's the challenge that we're talking about here? Well, there's no denying, again, the buzz around generative AI, and everyday headlines proclaim breakthroughs and forecast monumental changes in the way we work, right? Yet inside many organizations, AI initiatives can feel like an uphill battle, sometimes delivering questionable or even hallucinated results and eroding stakeholder trust in the system. And why does this happen frequently? Often it is an information governance problem. And more specifically, it's a lack of structured data for Gen AI to rely on. Okay, so everything you do to improve your information governance improves your situation when it comes to when and where you want to start to use it for AI reasons. And then not only that, the challenge gets even compounded for IT, because you're the ones that have to focus on many of the repetitive tasks dealing with granting access requests or fixing permissions or consolidating unstructured data silos into content server, and then all the related metadata cleanup that comes with it too. So that a lot of times that falls on the IT teams and so forth, or the application owners and so forth. So that's the big challenge there, right? And what can we do about it? Well, OpenText Content Management Platform is a great system, along with extended ECM integration to lead applications like SAP, Salesforce.com, Microsoft 365, any other lead application that's driving your business process. And so the integration is great, but furthermore, OpenText lets you use business workspaces to link your unstructured documents to business processes. And then this gives you the context to run your Content Aviator AI solutions well too. And think of the benefit of having an invoice stored in OpenText knowing exactly which vendor, purchase order, and an SAP financial entry are related. That's kind of what happens when you drop it into a business workspace document. So you start to wrap the business process structure around it with the lead application. And then this is when AI automation can happen seamlessly and also where the Fastman information governance toolkit is invaluable. Okay. Organizations may start their journey at varying levels of readiness, such as just researching use cases for AI, running proof of concepts, does it work, or just deploying a pilot project to achieve a quick win. And wherever you may be on this journey, you still need to ensure that the data behind it is reliable. It's easy to be dazzled by AI possibilities too, but in today's day-to-day enterprise world, the most impressive advances often hinge on something less glamorous, such as information governance and data integrity. And this is where Fastman is hyper-focused on providing our customers with self-service tools that deliver clean, compliant, and AI-ready content for them to use in their business process. So whether you're there, I think we all know we're going to get there at some point, but the Fastman tools are going to help you just give you a solid foundation for your information governance so that you can do more with it. And so about Fastman, we've been working in this OpenText ecosystem for almost 20 years with deep expertise primarily in the OpenText content management platform, formerly known as Extended ECM. We also have expertise in the core content system too. And we run 3 strong business lines, properly known as our managed services, our consulting arm, managed agreements for e-signature integration, and this brings us to the Fastman Management Suite. And this is our out-of-the-box toolkit that will enhance any OpenText content management deployment by increasing the precision of your information governance, which results in greater AI and OpenText Content Aviator readiness. The tools on the left side are anchored by Permissions Manager and ideal for ensuring compliant and timely access to content, whereas the right is used for data consolidation and fixing metadata. And within the OpenText ecosystem, Fastman holds several distinguishing achievements. We're very proud solution extension partner of OpenText, for which Fastman Management Suite is readily available. We're also have an ISV system integrator status, and our tools are OT Cloud certified for the OpenText content management platform too. And here we go. This leads us into what we're going to do here today. Momentarily, I'm going to transition off to Renita, and we're going to show you a few information governance scenarios that we put together that I think can relate using the Fastman tools that can relate to how you do things in your business and how you can get you ready for even whether it's just improving the information governance or getting you ready for AI type solutions using Content Aviator. It would be helpful. So think about it like this, starting with the bulk data manager. We'll happily consolidate in this demonstration. We're going to consolidate contract documents from an external source to business workspaces and content server integrated with extended ECM for Salesforce.com. Right? That'll be the first thing Renee is going to show. Additionally, we'll apply as a secondary process records management classifications in bulk. And we'll do that using our tool, but also pulling from a content server, what they call a save search capability, which is a nice little integration that is very useful and handy. So we're going to show that off, how you can build this content. Not only is this a great way to manage information governance by consolidating and tagging, but you're also applying business structure to the content that we bring in. And resulting in this results in AI-ready content linked to a business process. And now you can proceed with a proof of concept of Content Aviator, and deliver a quick win. Okay, so that's what the intent behind this one is. Next up, we have Permissions Manager. And many of us know and use this Fastman tool for its dashboard view and overall bulk permission change capabilities, right? However, Renita is going to dive a little deeper and showcase out-of-the-box ways to solve several pesky information governance issues related to public access, or updating ownership on content, and even replacing users in content server, how that can be done in quickly and in bulk. And then lastly, we have Permissions Manager for Outlook, along with time-based access. These are two popular add-ons for the Permissions Manager suite, and they play an important role in making Content Server easy to use, okay, especially for your business users. And in this scenario, she'll quickly and safely grant access to specific content and share the document links with the desired recipients, which happen to be legal users. Thereafter, these legal users can use the power of open text along with Content Aviator for the allotted time frame. And what this does, it lowers your risk and it keeps your information governance intact. So often we see content server users have created, quite maybe risky or manual workarounds for the same scenario. Here, you can just use it out of the box, keeping everything intact, eliminating the burden of cleanup, and then, keeping the information governance in place. And so I think when you see it in action, of how these tools work together, you see, that's where the aha moments come from. So Renita, how's things looking on your end? I'm done with my portion of the presentation right here. Feel free to take it away if you like. Are you on mute?
No, I was. Thank you about that. I did share my screen, so let me know if you can see my screen over here.
I see the last contact us page still, it looks like.
Yes, so I'll keep that in the background for a minute, and then I'm going to start off with bulk data manager. So the first scenario that we talked about, right? Bringing data in the business workspaces. So you're absolutely right. I have an integration with SFTC. I'm not going to show you the SFTC integration. These are some of the contracts that I've created from there. Obviously, these are only for the demo, but in real life, there would be much more, business workspaces coming in. And then we all know that the beauty of business workspaces is the structure that it provides to store your different documents for that business process or for the transaction. So contracts can have the drafts, then the approved ones, correspondence that has led to that contract, financial information that was shared during the negotiation, etc. And then obviously I also have a related business workspace to this one, right? Now, when you create contracts, there might be the first set of documents that you have to load, which might be a little tedious for the front office to do on a regular basis, right? There might be a ton of correspondence, drafts that you had created, financial documents that were exchanged, right? So I'm going to use BDM to just bring that data in. In here, I have my source, just 3 business workspaces, shows you the structure. I also have my documents associated with them, right? So my goal is to bring these documents in, tag it with appropriate metadata in the first phase, and then I'll also show you how you can do targeted updates to it as part of the second piece of my demonstration with BDM, right? So here I am. I have BDM loaded. I have logged in with my account as renita.day. I had used this profile previously just to do a few tests, and you can see that that profile is loaded, right? The benefit of this tool is a thick client that you can roll out to your users. So the dependency to maintain the data is not with IT, but is with your users who understand the documents, who understand the metadata, and who understand the record management process as well, right? The lifecycle. In here, because I want to load the data and tag it, I'm going to use the load taxonomy format first. You get 2 options, new and from an Excel sheet. Excel sheet would be really helpful if you're bringing a lot of information where you are collaborating with other team members to fill in information and then, or working on it offline and getting back to it. New would be something that you would like to do as a one-time activity and be done with it real quick. Right? I'm I'm going to do a new load altogether. Gives me the option to select the structure. So I have my documents in my local drive, but it could be in shared drives, it could be on network type, it could be in SharePoint, which is mapped together as a drive in a system, anything which can be, or a box system, right? So it could be any of those input sources. And then you also get option to kind of like work on the names of the files, right? Which actually get displayed in content server rather than the physical file names. I'm removing the extension, I'm removing everything after that. This is a visit-driven approach that we use. So think of it as a way to bulk upload things, which is guided for your end user. So you don't need a ton of training. There's no coding involved. So it's no code, high usability, something that is available from day one, right? So you can see as soon as I selected the input, I was asked to select the output. Again, as a user, I only see the structure where I have access to. So I'm in sales and I'm going to upload it in the sales contract document. Right? Next is going to ask me about the default values for the categories defined on the template. So for this, I'm going to select contract as a default value with an option to update it at a later point of time, as you will see in a few seconds. You also saw that I have only one attribute here. It shows in yellow because it's a mandatory attribute. It's a drop down, so it gives me the values from content server. Again, a great utility so that you can upload the correct information the first time. So issues where there is a metadata mismatch doesn't come because we do those validation upfront, right? And it's not like you start a process and then you see, the contract was named not as contract, but contracts, right? It doesn't happen that way. Then the visit is going to drive you to the Excel sheet-like feature where all the files are listed down for you. It maps it to the business workspace, the subfolder, the document name. If you want, you can fix details here, update information over here. The best part about this utility is you also have something called as the row 3 feature or the magic field that we call. Which allows you to change the value for all the columns if you provide the entry in third row, right? So that's pretty useful, I would say, really helpful in getting things sorted out, right? And then you see that the contract value that I gave earlier is being reflected over here. What it allows me to do is now change individual items. If I have to, I can save it as an Excel sheet, work on it offline and get back to it. So really handy. And then you get all the Excel-like features like copy pasting, drag and drops. So I really don't have to like individually type in the values. I could just update it from here, right? If I want, I could assign RM more categories, all dependent on my profile, but I'm keeping this scenario real simple, and I'm doing an upload over here. I do have one document which is already present in my content server, so it's going to fail. And I'm going to show you that even the error messages are shown to you in a proper way, which help you in the reconciliation process, right? So now everything is happy. I'm going to click on finish, right? I can schedule it if I want to. In this case, I'm just doing yes and starting the process right now. So 17 file in total. You could see it has started the process. The successful uploads are going to happen here. And the unsuccessful one is going to give you an error message. And you also get a little stat at the end of it, which tells you exactly how many documents went through, which ones failed, so that you can take appropriate action on them, right? And I think it's really cool because there comes the problem, because you really don't have to dig through the log to find out the failures. It gives you right on the screen. So pretty useful, I would say. Right. So yeah, this document already exists in my folder. That's the reason it didn't come through. If I'm not wrong, is this directory. I'm going to show you a few items as well, just to display that These were my draft contracts that I brought in. And then if I show you the metadata for one of them, you'll see it has brought in the information. And it was created by Renita.day, which is my account. I'll pivot to the classic UI in a bit, but you can see that it has the document type information that I've entered in, right? Now, if I go in to one of my contract files, let's say this one, go to the properties page, the journal page actually, and show you here, you'll see that my name has come in, and then also it has maintained the source information like the creation and the modified date, right? It also maintains the owner. In this case, the user that was connected to it was Renita, which doesn't exist in the system, so it has mapped it to admin. But if that user exists, then it would kind of like link it to that user as well, right? So the chain of custody is also maintained here. Very important for sometimes RM, sometimes legal purposes and things like that, right? So you have all that information in here, and obviously everything is tracked under audit as well, right? You can see it over here. I don't know if you noticed, but there was this comment which I updated using the third row. And you can also see that the extension and things like that were removed because I wanted the name to be in a particular format. So this was my actual name. The PDF got removed. I didn't have any underscores. So those kind of scenarios could be easily be done in this with the tool using the configurations, and it's pretty easy, right? So yeah, all you need to do is create the profile.
That's great, Renita. And can I just say that, you know, as everyone, people want to use the OpenText system as that single point of truth, and even more so as we go to AI-driven systems, right? Because that's where you want to be able to trust everything. So getting information in a very structured way is critical, right? And getting the metadata created the way you do, yeah. And then you know, better than dragging and drop, you know, what do end users have to do? Drag and drop this stuff in and type it in by hand, or it becomes an IT project where, you know, you may have another approach to doing this, right? More of a developer approach. But here, you've got profiles that can enforce the business rules for you and say, hey, this is how you bring your content in and how you tag it.
Right. Absolutely agree with that. And the next one that I'm going to show you targets the data in content server, which is also a very important factor for information governance. As you said, like, right, it's not a project. Like information governance is not one time done and dusted. It's a continuous process. And during that life cycle of a document, you have to change the metadata, RM, things like that. And I would say that having a tool like this really helps you maintaining that as well. So I'll go next to my next scenario, which is updating existing metadata and RM classifications on them, right? So you can see the log is up here. You can see it has maintained all my logs. I've done a bit of testing for the webinar. So you can see all of them, but very useful when you are doing production environments and you want to keep a list of uploads that you have done, right? I'm going to close this one, start the next one, update attribute. I'm on the same profile, but this profile has an extra category and also have enabled RM on it. Again, start new or start from Excel sheet. You have three options: search, pretty useful based on the category. You have browse and select, that whole structure you could select that I've just imported, or you can have a targeted search, which I think is the most useful feature within PDM, right? Because it helps you correct the data which is missing information, which is the whole point of the update attribute field, right? So in here, I have a safe search created in the same location. This is list all contracts. So I updated the type of documents. So there were financial documents, there were correspondence, there were contract files and draft and approved statuses, right? I want to list down only the contracts which were already there in content server, as well as the one that I newly uploaded today, right? So run there is going to go to content server, bring the information up. I also have that on my category applied on the folder structure, but I really don't want to bring that in. So I'm going to just exclude it today for the demonstration. You can see it over here. And then all the business documents like the agreements, the contract files that you see here, all has come through. And then I can then pick and choose which one to really work with, right? Going to
So
click on next.
you have a search within Content Server that is able to find all the documents that have missing metadata.
Yeah,
And
you could
then
do
you're
that.
able to, from our BDM system here, come in and just run that safe search to present the data to you now here so that
Yeah.
you can quickly fix it in bulk.
And you know what, like sometimes when you create categories, you really don't know which are going to be the most critical one for you going down the line, and you make them mandatory.
Yeah.
What PDM allows you to do is override that feature. So even though the category attribute is not mandatory in Content Server, you can make it mandatory here, right? So let's say the business process for uploading contract needs a end date or the currency in which the contract was made. You make it mandatory over here without changing anything in Content Server or upgrading it, right? And what happens is when people start uploading documents, you make sure that they kind of provide that value when they do the upload. So I think that reduces friction, gives clarity to your end users when they kind of work on, the upload or the update process, right? You can see here, I have the contract documents. I could add more if I want to, but I'm just going to go ahead and work with the contract document right now. I don't want to really update the description or anything like that. So let's go ahead. Let's see what it brings from my Content Server. I uploaded 17 files. There were a few correspondence and financials in that. This one is bringing me other contracts as well from other business workspaces, which has matched my search criteria. So there are a few more. And you can also see that some of them already have some values in it, right? Because that's what is currently set. Not everything is perfect, but some of them have the end date, some of them don't. Some of them have the currency, some of them have the status, things like that, right? Now I could fix that. I can say these are the active ones. I can change that. I can put a type. Let's say you need to make that all the businesses that you're doing is in USD. You could do that. You can save this, work on getting the correct end dates maybe of the contract, because a lot of times I've seen RMs depend on the contract end date. So just having that information is really important for your RM to work correctly. And having the data in is important, but deleting the data at the correct moment is also important for the organization for legal purposes, right? So getting the data correct is also a required thing, right? And then these documents have RM, these don't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the RM for all of them. And you can see this is my RM classification tree. The contracting out is over here. The contracts are over here. And I know that you could select the different things over here, and it's going to update everything. You can see the file number, all the metadata that are associated with it. And you can see I have the receive date as well. And I'm going to keep it blank. It's needed because it's in yellow, but I'm going to keep it blank just to show you that when I try to upload it, it's going to give me a notification saying that you have not entered that value, which means I have to provide a value for this over here. Yeah, I can correct it. Some of them are different, so I could just change it if I need to. Right, and you can see because of Excel sheet is so easy to do that, right? And obviously you can work on it offline as well. So there you go, corrected the information, did few updates from the third line, got prompts for missing fields, things like that. And I'm going to click on finish. What this is going to do is start update on those 16 items as we talk, and then you can see they are being updated here. Again, if there are any error messages, you'll get that here. If it goes smoothly, you'll get the stats about the successful update and how much time it took per document, per item to get updated. So when you run a bigger list, you know exactly how much time it's going to take. Do you want to run it in the evenings or over the weekend or something like that? So,
Yeah, Renita, I get a lot of positive comments from our customers about, it's nice that it does the fixing and all that stuff, but just like the analytic data around it, like for quality control, like the logs and stuff, and you were showing there, they love that part of it because that's what's missing in most other things that ways of approaching this?
No, I have used those products. So I've had a difficult time with reconciliation, and this kind of helps it with the whole visibility and tracking down which ones were missed, during the process. So you can see my contracts are over here. You can see my record management, all the updated attribute. You can see the
Beautiful.
receive date. So you get really everything that you need, right? And there are a ton of other features with PDM, but I think these are the two most value added ones for information governance. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show.
Yeah, nice job. Nice job. There's so much more to go on. We could spend a lot of time, but I think that kind of crystallizes having a tool to be able to consolidate, and you can put this in front of, we have customers that, they start off in one department for one business process with a profile, and they roll it out throughout the organization for the different business processes. And then the business users are in charge of the information governance and the metadata management and so forth. Or we're getting it right the first time when we bring it in, and then we have a way to fix it easily later, right? So they
Yep.
have that covered 360.
Yep.
All right, I'll pause. You take it away.
Yeah, I think the next one that I want to really cover is another aspect of information governance, which is correct permission, right? Obviously, metadata is important to get right search results, maybe AI responses, etc. But permissions are also important because you don't want someone who doesn't need it to see your documents or view the metadata, right? So we have permission manager for that. I'm going to launch it in Smart UI just to show you how it looks. And then I'm going to pivot and show you a few more features when I'm updating the information over here. So you can see here, I launched it on the parent folder, which means where all my business workspaces are. It gives you a nice view to see that, what access each of them have. I can also type in the name of a group or a user. So you can see over here, it gives me that. And then this is actually giving me a little bit problem because this is not a correct group. My groups don't really start with underscore. They have a proper prefix, right? The problem is, this is actually what happened when I created the business workspaces in SFDC. I didn't enter one of the metadata, which was required to create this group. And it created like incorrect group names in the system and sync the user. And then when I corrected it, it created another group, but my business workspaces, which were already created, I was stuck with it, right? So I really want to correct that. The other thing that I'm noticing here is, let's see, public access is kind of enabled on this. With the whole AI stuff going on, I'm not very comfortable in general when public access is enabled on business transaction things, right? But yeah, I think this is something which would bother any end user or any information governance team, document controller team. So that's another thing that I want to correct. And I also noticed that I'm not following the best practices when I created the business workspace. So I'm kind of stuck with full access on the owner. So none of these are correct way of setting business workspace, or not the recommended way of setting business workspaces and permission. I really want to fix that, right? So I'm going to click on my advanced feature, right? It takes me to classic UI where I get a ton of other functionality. And the first thing that I'm going to do is fix the public access and the ownership and things like that, right? So I click in here, I say public owner should have minimum CC content. If I want to update the default group, I could. And public access is no. So I do this, I submit this on, and I'm ready here. I want to copy only these three permission into all my business workspaces and the sub items within it, right? So I'm going to copy permission here. You can see all the list items. I'm saying retain the users or the group if it is there. So let's say you created a business workspace and you are the owner. I don't want to change that. I just want to reduce your access, right? So I'm doing that. And the other thing is you can see how you want to affect the official and confidential items within the business workspaces if you have RM set up, things like that, right? And then I'm doing a quick preview. So what it's going to do is it's going to look into each of the business workspaces on the top level item and calculate how many sub items I have. So I did load documents today, and I already had some existing ones plus the folder structure. So you could see there are a total of 15, 10, 7 items within the business workspace. I really have not worked on RM here, so official and confidential items are 0. And I know that nothing is going to be skipped because I have access to Renita.day, right? So I'm going to start the copy process. And what it does is it's going to update everything and tell you when it is completed, right? No guesswork because the numbers are updating in the background. You don't have to worry about that. It shows you very clearly how many items it's going to affect. And then obviously the page is going to refresh as it does it. So that stress of, thinking, oh, is it going to take 1 day or 5 days is gone, right? Plus you can chunk it up also because we work great on collections as well. So put chunks of it in collections and work from there, right? You can see I have admin roles here. Beauty, another thing, a beautiful thing is you can extend here. So you really don't have to launch permission manager on individual items. All you need to do is click, 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 and it expands. Or even better, you can use our search, right? I'm not going to show you that, but it gives you if anything was missed with public access. So I think great utility to update, verify, confirm.
Yeah, and what comes to mind is the precision that you're able to fix everything in the way that you're very exacting, and you can see it, you can see the issue, you can make the bulk change, and then you can easily verify afterwards. And that's what comes down to good good governance, right? Good information governance, which
Yep.
builds on trust. And as people, these are the things you have to get right before you deploy, again, a content aviator, right? For a use case, right? So then,
Yep.
and then ongoing monitoring of this would be much easier too. So
Yep.
if you're thinking of deploying AI on your unstructured content around things, these are some of the, that's why when you were putting this together, it was like, this is exactly what people need to get things off the ground.
Right. The next thing I want to show you is that incorrect group that got created somehow. I want to fix that. I'm going to use my replace user. I don't show it a lot, but I think it's pretty useful. All
Let's
you
set
need to
this
do.
up a little bit, Renita. I think what
Yep.
happens, people have their lead application that creates their business workspaces, but from time to time, there can be these abnormal situations that occur, right? So the lead application in your case is Salesforce, and
Yep.
for some reason, it created something unusual, and so you were able to identify it, and then once you identify it, how do you fix these things, right?
Exactly. So you can see here, I typed in the incorrect group, which got created somehow. It was a data entry problem, so I take blame for that, but it gave me a nice use case, so I kept it actually for that. And and then you can see it's actually these groups that should have been here. These are all related to, I think, consulting. So is this team that should be here actually with the members. So you can see here that I'm going to replace this group with that other group in all the business workspaces within the structure. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I clicked it a little fast. I should have also done all sub items, which means it's also going to reflect on the subfolders because these are not rows, these are groups. So there's a difference there. So you can see here, now it's going to start the process and it's going to replace the items in here. There are 11 skipped, and those are actually skipped because there are not supported business references actually. So if I add that into my list of subtypes supported, it would also be added there, right? So you can see here, really easy to fix that. And then once I'm done, I can come back and I can check it from my view here, the dashboard itself, which will show you the correct data. But you can also drill down or use our search functionality to do that. Plus, the other thing that you could do is you can see the compare group things and also check from a correct user and an incorrect user perspective that their group membership is correctly reflected or not. No. So that should also give you some good idea. So yeah, this is my permission manager dashboard. I know I went a little quick, with two different use cases, but I think they are value add. These are the issues that I've seen across my journey with different clients, and I've done different ways to fix them, but never with the peace of mind that I really needed to make sure that I've written queries to check them continuously whether it's really gone or not. But yeah, this does give me that peace of mind.
I know, very nice job there.
Yep. Okay, so the next one, I have this business workspace that you see here. I'm going to just open that up. And these two folders actually should go out to the legal team to review the contracts, right? I have an email right over here where you can see this is the user probably. Just put that here. And then these are going out to them, but I have access to it, right? These are the folder. I can also put different document links if I want to. That's supported as well. But you'll see on the very right-hand side, I have something called as validate link or Fastman validate link. What this does is it goes into content server with my current credentials. So it will prompt you for credentials the first time or SSO, depending upon how you have set it up. But it's going to check whether the recipients have any access on it or not. So you can see here, because I remove public access, right? The JPlake user doesn't really have access anymore on the item. Renita Day has, because that's me, but the other user doesn't have it, right? And this is important when you collaborate with different teams. The message from OpenText has been single source of truth, which means no copies of the documents. And as soon as you start attaching documents in your emails, you don't really keep that single source, right? So what we are trying to do is mitigate that risk, bring it all together using Permission Manager for Outlook. Before you send an email, you can use this tool to check whether the recipients have access or not. And what it also does is there are different links here. Obviously, you see a new UI because we did launch that. Maybe you can speak to it a little bit, but you can see all the details and then whether the user has access or not over here. And I'm going to close it, click it here, and then I'll see if you have any comments on the permission management for Outlook. So let's give it a second. I could use this just to see if there is access, no effective access. So I want to really give access to this this particular folder to the user, right? So one thing that I could do is I could use time-based access for this. I'm going to just launch it here actually, so that is easier for me. I think is this folder. Yep, the 01 at Camis, so I could have done it from here. So let me launch Permission Manager from here. There you go. And then it's just the first two folders that needs. I can also do full access on the business workspace, but I'm just targeting documents and the main folder, right? Now, the legal team really doesn't need access forever. They only need access to review the document, right? And I know people have come up in past with ways to give temporary access, like maintaining an Excel sheet or creating different folders and things like that, and keeping a note or description in a way, or putting task lists to complete the process of revoking the access for contractors or users who need access, but for a very short duration of time, right? This takes that guesswork away, gives you an automated way to give someone access. It can be a user, it can be a group, it can be multiple groups as well. So in here, you can see I've given time-based access for two folders, right? You can see here, I can provide reason. I'm going to add a group. I'm going to cascade it down to the sub levels as well. So the documents are also added for the user. And then I can either type in the group or I can type in the user. I'm going to give them access to review contracts, right? And then confirm. And then I think I should give them at least reserve access so that they can provide comments on the documents, not really add items or anything like that, but at least reserve, right? So you can see given that, and then I'm going to click on submit, and you can see that the two folders have some documents in it. So you can see the update items is updating here. So all three items were updated for the approved contract, and then for the drafts, when 5 items were there. So those are also done. And when I come back in here, you can see this group has been added, and there's a small icon in here which tells you that is temporary access, and it also tells you when it is going to expire, who granted it. So that's me, Pranita.day, and the reason why it was granted, right? And come 29th August, there would be an agent which will run in the background and revoke this access. Now, if this user was already there, or the group was already there with a different set of access, then it will revert to that access. And if it was not there, it will net remove them, right? So no more guesswork, no more keeping track manually, just a lot of cleaner solution to grant temporary access to your contractors, your users, your business processes where it is needed. I'm going to take a pause. I know I spoke a lot. I'll give you a chance to provide your inputs as well.
No, I think with the whole time-based access, it lets you keep your information governance the way you have it set up intact without coming up with those workarounds that you make, right? So you can keep the system there for sharing to external parties, or I think then that, like, people come all the time, hey, I got to do a discovery, I need access to these business workspaces for some whatever the work reason is, right? So now you can just add them very quickly, share the content via document links, and then people are going to they're going to get these business workspaces, and they're going to want to, if you have it, if you could run AI on it, people are going to want to run AI on it, whether it's coming from OpenText or another system, quite frankly. So you might as well have AI from Content Aviator. Here are the business workspaces you have temporary access to for 30 days, and that way it's safe and it'll clean itself up at the end, right? And people can get their work done. So that's how they're going to expect it to work, right?
Exactly. Yep.
So yeah, and I really do like the way you've put these use cases together from the point of view of when you were like an administrator working at companies you were administrating content server, and some of the challenges you had, and how this would help you in your day to day. But this little bundle together is very complementary of what we're seeing in the marketplace, and it ties into the theme of information governance, and then getting ready for deploying the single point of truth in these AI driven scenarios that people want to do. So thank you so much for that. Anything else before we switch to site? We got some questions, Renita, that came in. Anything else that you want to add, or you think we're at that point? Take some questions.
Yeah, we are good to take some questions.
Yeah, we got a couple minutes left. I guess we did use up most of the hour. We had one during the bulk data manager use case, and someone was asking about the cap on the number or even the size of items to bulk upload. So I guess they were looking at the quantity, right? And so we essentially, and on the size, right? So we basically follow what the standard is. It depends on what OpenText does, the content server. We use the API, so you can bring in large quantities happily, and we give you the analytics at the end there, so you can run a small job to see how long it'll take, right? And then you may, and people use that to kind of gauge and even, as we say, chunk up what the migration may look like if they're using it for migration. And then the size of the files is really dependent. It's limited by the OpenText system and essentially your web server, I guess, right? So what's the size limit on files to OpenText in general?
I don't think so. OpenText as such provides you a limit on the file. It's basically how much your IIS or Tomcat can take it up. If I'm not wrong, you can change it. Yeah, it's like 2 gigs or something like that. Yeah, it's the web server. So you can change it, and there are knowledge articles that you can refer to update that. We can help you with that. I think our documentation calls it out as well.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Here's one. Can your bulk data manager tool be deployed they're talking to our business users, and and I guess they're asking about the professional services around it, or can they configure it themselves?
Um, so yeah, you can deploy it very safely to your end users. We provide you two methods. One would be the publish URL where you publish a link and they download it, and it's good to run. As an admin, you decide which users get to run that, so you have some control over there. The second question, Brian, was about
Can they
I'm sorry.
configure it? Yeah,
Oh
can
yeah,
they?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, obviously you can. There's an admin client. The admins get that login. Once they have that, they can configure the different users in it, and then the profiles as well. If for more complicated use cases, obviously we can provide you services around it as well.
Yeah, we do have deployment services and packages to help
Yeah,
as needed. They don't, that they're not large, like some,
yeah,
as far as this compared to the licensing and stuff like that. But the tools are meant to be self-service for the business users to
yeah,
use and for you to deploy, and then we provide additional
yeah.
services if needed to help you get the productivity. What else? What else? What else? Another bulk data manager asking about transmission throughput. I guess they're asking how fast it is and any file type limitations. So I think we somewhat already talked about this and answered it, but as far as
Yeah.
transmission, how fast is it? I guess it's dependent on their
Yeah.
environment, is what you would
Yes.
say, Renee. How would you like to answer it?
Yeah, I guess so. Like how it is configured, are you using the same front-end UIs for your web services? That really depends. I would say that running those initial tests will help you determine the throughput of it. Uh, and yeah, it won't be very different from what you get from, the UIs and things like that. If you're using the front-end endpoints, it won't be worse than that. And yeah, there's no really limit on the type of documents that you want to upload. You could really select anything and everything and just upload it. You can put an exclusion list if you want in our configuration that kind of like avoids certain type of files to be listed when you do upload taxonomy, low taxonomy. So those functionalities are there. Those sets of configurations are there.
I like to say that, the transmission rate or how fast is important, and we give you the analytics to it, but getting the job done and getting it done right, if you look at that total time is broader than that, right?
Yeah.
So being able to get your metadata set the way you want and
Uh,
efficiently
yeah.
and having less errors, but getting the whole job done, the total time is less
Yeah.
than many other ways if you were doing it with,
Right. Yeah,
object
because
order or something.
yeah, we are not just setting, uploading the file and being done with it, right? We are doing update category attributes, RM if it is there. We also change like the dates for you for the chain of custody. So those things are also part of that whole, time that is taken to upload one single document. So you should consider all of that as well.
100%. File type limitations, any file type limitations they were asking?
No, no,
Whatever OpenText supports, right? Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I have, and again, more of these large files, large quantity. Can you bring in email files and voicemails for archival?
You could. So the email files is .msg, which will get in as .msg file, like 144. If you're a technical person, you'll understand that. If you have to convert it into email, it's a two-step process where we recommend you use an Outlook utility that OpenText provide to convert the document type into the email type. But it is possible to use PDM too, and we have customers who are using it as well to successfully bring in emails. Same with voicemails, yeah, same, yeah. It'll
Oh,
assign to a mem type.
all right. Well, I think we're at time.
Oh,
Yeah, and we held the audience, so appreciate everybody coming to today's webinar, Fastman's webinar. I believe we're sharing, if you need any more information, how to get a hold of us at our website or emailing us directly, or we have a nice little barcode to take you to our LinkedIn page to kind of participate. But again, Brian Lapointe, Renee today. If there's anything we can do for you in your open text environments, we're happy to jump on a call or showcase how we, drill a little deeper into some of the scenarios that we were showcasing today. There's so much more that can be done, and then tailor it to your own business process that you're trying to achieve. So we're happy to kind of share our knowledge with you. So again, thanks everyone. Thanks Renita for putting this on with me. And as always, you're a good we're a good tag team. And enjoy the rest of your day. Okay. Thanks everyone. Bye for now.
I can disconnect.